TravelingArtista. What am I working with today? Let's go see. I have my reference image here. It's a sketch that I did on location, about 2x3, just a little thumbnail sketch. I'm going to try to interpret it onto this paper. I am not exactly sure what paper this is because it was given to me. It has no markings on the back. Because it's not smooth on the back, I don't think it is Spectrafix. And the texture on the surface, it makes me think it's Sennelier. So because it's that, or I think it's that, I need to not use any liquids. So this is going to be basically alla prima. I'm just going to approach it and paint it and see how it comes out. Actually, my PanPastels are put away too, so I'm not going to use those. Could get them out, but I'd have to unclip from the microphone. I'm using little tick marks to kind of find my placement of images, the objects in this. The buildings are straight on, so those are 1 point perspective. So all I'm going to get is mostly the front of them. This is on a beach in Maine, Higgins Beach to be exact. As many of you know, it's one of my favorite places for painting references. This needs to go up higher. Okay, tick, tick, tick. Houses there, edge of the house here. As I'm doing this, I am checking angles and measuring. I've done this for a long time, so I can do a lot of this as I go along. But because I'm doing it lightly, it's easy to make adjustments. Okay, I had a little interruption, so I changed my mind about PanPastels. I've gotten them out behind me just in case I decide to use them. Now, these are houses lined up along the beach, so they're not necessarily all the same construction and roof angles. Actually, they're not. A lot of these houses are older, been here, you know, God, at least 100 years or so. This is a very, very long-standing, popular summer community and year-round. There's a lot of people who live on Higgins Beach year-round. Let's see. Dividing space, creating an interesting design of abstract shapes. Watch that line, it looks like it's going right off the corner. It's not quite, but I want to adjust it slightly so it goes off there and definitely not off the corner. Down here, at the base of this pole, near it, there were a couple people sitting and chatting on the beach. It wasn't summertime when I took this shot, so I know that they're clothed. Their heads are leaning toward each other as they're chatting, just indicating a little of that. I don't need to spell it all out. I want to indicate and just suggest. I want to keep this fairly abstract, as I said. I'm kind of starting a little more. I'm starting abstract. I'm just doing shapes and designs and thinking about where I'm going to be going with this. I do not have a pre-chose color scheme. And I think I'm going to have the light coming from kind of this direction, almost up above, but coming down on them. And then in the distance, there's a shoreline over there. Checking to see if I have enough information. I've exaggerated this large shape. It's kind of bushes or rocks, and it falls down toward the beach. Now my struggle here is going to be to keep it as loose as possible. And now I pull out my PanPastels and I need to decide on a color scheme. I want to keep the paper showing through. I better check this. There's a little dot of something there. Okay, simple, simple, simple. Let's see. Golden sand, maybe a light sky. I have my PanPastel sponge and a rag to keep it fairly clean, keep the sponge clean, the colors clean. Here's one of my PanPastels sets. I'm going to start over here. I want to see how this acts on this paper. Ooh, I think I like it. I like the large PanPastel sponge because it reminds me of an oil brush. I was always trained and learned, practiced, to paint with the largest brush possible for as long as possible. I think I want to keep some of those interesting lines that it's creating in the painting. This is a telephone pole or something man-made there. Okay. Thinking about the colors. I like these. I think I'm going to keep this geometric. I'm liking this, the geometric shapes that the sponge is creating. Where was that other roof? Back there. That's my blending. Let's get deeper as we go over to this direction. And even to the point, oh, I have a PanPastel here that's almost exactly the paper. So if I need to do some blending later, I can remember that. Step back. Thinking. Keep your mind going, not only thinking about what's happening here, but what is going to be happening down in this area. I'm going to continue with the kind of abstract shape that I've been working with down in the foreground. And I'm going to use this lighter color that I used in the sky as the lighter area in the sand as well. think about your marks, make the marks, and then the trick is to try to leave them alone. Keep them pure, keep them strong. Squint, squint, squint. I think this is my blender. Yep. I bought some blender at IAPS, and it's something I'm not used to having on my palette. IAPS is the International Association Pastel, the conference that they have every other year. And it's a great opportunity to pick up some unusual supplies and try them out. All right, let's see what I have for. Check my color. Just blending a little bit now. I tend to be a textured painter. I mean, I like a lot of texture in my paintings. And this time I'm going to try to keep it, as I said, alla prima, very strong, more bold than normal. Fresh strokes. I do this every now and then. It's fun. I did it once in a painting that I did of a building in Rockland, Maine. It was some factory buildings near the waterfront. And most of it was PanPastel with a few marks of regular stick pastels to finish it. I think it won an award. I think it was honored as the most creative in that particular show I put it in. Thanks to the judge. One never knows. Paint for yourself, and then try entering shows every now and then. Every judge gets a little bit different approach. They also have different emotions themselves. I mean, sometimes you look at a painting and you go like, eh, and then other times you look at it and you go, wow, that's great. So again, paint for yourself and go for it. A little more light behind these. So I need, because I want these figures to kind of pop out. The figures and the sky behind. That looks blue because there's so much gold in this, but actually it's this gray right here that I'm throwing in just to soften some things in the background. Let's put a distant shoreline. Hint of a light ultramarine blue and a little Viridian green. All right, I think I have a good amount of lights there. Squint down for that distant shoreline. I want to swish it up like trees. There. Left it a little darker along the edge there to indicate the shadow area in that distance. Now I'm going to put in some of the housing fronts. I was going to make this one white, but I think I'll keep it light blue to balance out here. This house, that, and one of the figures. So get some blending, some light blue, Watch my roof line coming down, using the tool, the sponge tool, to draw the shape of the house. Trying to be precise as I can with this large tool. It's amazing what you can do with a large tool. You can get in there, really think about it, and create a shape. I like that. I know this house in reality is yellow, but I don't think a yellow house is going to go there. While I'm thinking about what color to do there, I'm going to add some light into these figures. That light blue to tie in kind of this way. It's a purplish blue. Let's add a little kind of green as well on the highlighted side of those figures. Maybe a little, let's see if she's there. That could be the arm, the leg, and the pants coming out. Now I need to clean my sponge a bit. If you notice, I have a light side to my sponge and a darker side to the sponge. And I try to keep that consistent if I can. So not a color I use very often, but I am going to go with this Viridian Green and my blending tool, and I'm going to make this house that color. I don't know why it is, but I rarely use Viridian Green. I was asked in a workshop once. I was taking the workshop from a great pastel artist, wonderful one. And she suggested that we go ahead and, I'm sorry, looking for a color while I'm also doing this, and choose a color that had the most of it on our palette. Well, come to find out, the most I had was the one I didn't use. And that was a Viridian Green. I will use Viridian a lot in watercolor because it makes a great blending color. Not to keep as itself, but to blend with, say, earth tones, and it gets to be this great gray. It creates beautiful grays when you mix it. Okay, let that one fade off a little bit. Same here, a little softer. No big worries. What's happening here? There's another L to this house right here. And what is this? There's that roof line. And I think there's another building beyond. But I need to change my PanPastel palette to, I think, the grays. I'm going to go with some of my grays now. I have 3 of these palettes in my PanPastels. And I've divided them by light colors, dark, strong hues, and kind of grays. That's kind of the approach I've been using. This is my checking area down here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Put in another little section right there. Looks like it's part of that roof. That's all right. Oops, I messed up on, whoops, one corner right there. I want to fix this. And vertical. Edge of the house has to be vertical. I'm going to let this shine through because there's like a fence there. A little lightness there. Layering of the houses. Now, I think I'll use my sienna to lay in some texture in this area of whatever it is, rocks. There's a little fence in front of this house. I'm going to add that in. Trying to focus here. Okay. And it doesn't really matter if it's an actual fence or not. We're just doing shapes and design. I'm going to use this bright red here. Bringing this down through here. Twisting my PanPastel sponge to give some different brush strokes within that. Let's allow this to go back in the distance. A little of the burnt sienna and some gray, just to indicate something in the distance. Stepping back, looking. I think that may be just about all I'm going to do with the PanPastel. I want to check a color right here. That looks a little light, but it's warm, kind of along the edge of the tree line there. All right, PanPastels go down. Tap the dust off. Step into the next phase. All right, next phase. Thinking shoulder, back, elbow. Let's get a little darker I'm using a very small piece of pastel. That one's very blue. I want something more gray. That's very green. That is dark and rather purplish gray, so always think the form of what you're painting. That's a butt. So I kind of round it around there, around the back. I think somewhat that it's a figure, but on the other hand, yeah, it's just shapes. Just shapes. Connecting the darks. As the figures are sitting there. There's also this post. And its shadow. Now we're on sand, so it's not going to be a straight line. And I'm going to bring in some interest in here. A little layering of a different color. And tying things together. shapes, dark shapes. I'm using some Viridian. I'm going to go get some deeper Viridian here. Ooh, this is a homemade pastel. As soon as I started using it, I knew it was. It is so soft and rich, and you can hear has a good amount of grit in it. Now, just a bit ago, I took my glasses off because I want to keep this loose. Loose painting. Gonna make this one have green butt. All right, that goes down. It's the side of theirs. I love the layering of the purple, the russet, the green here is really acting wonderfully. And I need to bring this down. This is just a shape, but I need to make it have some sense to it. What did I get going in the sketch? There's something kind of coming off this way as well. I wonder if I can blend that. Nope. So I need to find probably something in the Viridian family that's a little bit lighter. Whew, that's bright. It's light, but it's bright. How about sort of a little grayer, gray blue. I'm just glazing now, just a super light touch coming down to break up this line shape here. It's very strong. I don't want it quite that strong. Also, by glazing over the rust and stuff, it creates a neutralized area. Bring a little bit of that into. Now, as the Viridian goes back in the distance, I need it to get a little lighter as a grass or whatever kind of greens are going back that way. Keep telling myself, keep it simple, keep it simple. I think I'll make this into a shed off the back of that little shed. And I think this needs a little lightening. Glaze, I'm barely touching the paper. Just a soft, soft glaze. I'm going to tilt the pastel on its edge here to get some lines. All right, step back. I'm afraid I'm going to mess something up. I want to emphasize the heads a little more. I need it dark, but not black, but not too dark. Maybe something this way. Let's check it. That looks like a pretty good. Yeah. I'm going to give it hair down the back. And the other one, I want a little darker. And the head shape needs to be emphasized there. That's a little better. See, it's a little bigger now. Little shape to that body. Later on, I'll put my glasses on so I'll be able to see more distinctly what I've actually done. And I might need to fix some of the details. But right now, by keeping my glasses off, it's too close to the background. By keeping my glasses off, it helps me simplify my shapes and look at the overall forms as I'm working into it. Yeah. I have no idea where I got that piece of pastel. I'll put it there. Now I'm looking for something with a good edge. Actually, even round pieces have pretty good edges. If you use them properly. I have a bent piece of willow charcoal. I don't want to use that. The bent piece it's curved because that's the natural shape of the willow charcoal, but it will not lie flat on the paper when I go to apply it. This is great. This is where, okay, I just picked up a dark warm green. It has a nice edge to it, I know that, but that's not the pastel I want because I'm looking at cool greens and viridians here. So I have to stay in that area. Actually, at this point, I think I'm going to step back, take a little break, and come back to this. I think that's a good choice. I think it's coming nicely. I hope it comes out. Here's hoping. See you in a bit. Oh my gosh, I've been working on this painting for a few days now. And I've been struggling and adjusting the sky, connecting the darks, well, middle tones, they're not dark. I don't want it dark, I want this light filled. But my problem, and I think I finally figured it out, is that the figures are too small. That's why they look like little decals just stuck in there. So right now, I am going to do a time lapse and I am going to fix this. And I hope that it works out. Who knows? Sometimes we just keep working on something until it does work out. Of course, by that time, it's kind of overworked and I might have to do it again, but that's all right. I'm learning. I love the process and it's exciting. So I'm sharing this with you. So maybe it will help you with one of your paintings. Okay, this is pretty much it. I've tried, I've made a number of adjustments. I'm going to put this away. I don't like it right now. You never know. I had some great ideas. I wanted a very monochromatic or complementary painting, very gold, very light filled with a soft touch of blue shadows. It's not working for me. I like the sketch better. Anyway, I learned a lot. Keep attention to your proportions and your sizes. Don't know why it got so far off. Maybe these should be even bigger. I don't know, but I am basically tired of working on this. So on to the next.